Hey guys, what's up? This is Jason from A-Star Training Team. Thank you so much for watching A-Star Certified Technician Training Session 1. Well, today we're actually going to talk about how to make the basic configuration of your S-Series VoIP PBX. And since this S-Series VoIP PBX is based on the web GUI system, so we will not going to need to download any kind of software to access in the system. But we just need the web browser, all right? So talking about web browser, we will definitely need an IP address. And have a check here. This would be the very basic information on the S-Series VoIP PBX. In other words, when you get a brand new S-Series VoIP PBX, you will need to remember the most important information here, which would be the default IP address. It will be 192.168.5.150. Very important information here. And you will also need to remember the default username and password, which will be admin and password. All right, guys, that's a very basic information. And it's time for us to get into the system now. Okay, guys, so here is the web GUI system for our S-Series VoIP PBX. And currently, I'm taking this S100 as an example. Well, at the beginning, as you can see, this is totally simplified by this web page. It's very easy to understand. And right over here, you could find the selections. We have numerous selections for us to choose our language. All right, so currently I'm going to take the English, all right? And right over here, we will just need to enter the default username and password, of course. An important thing here is if you forget your password, don't worry about it because you can simply just click on that forgot password here. You will just to recover your password to make sure you can find it back. All right, now let's log into the system. Okay, here we go. So at the very beginning, when we get to the system will always, show us. It will always show us this pop-out actually. And as you can see here, the first page would be a notification just asking us to change the password. It's very important, the password is totally concerned about your security of your system. So that's very basic and very important. Well, if you don't want to change your password, it's okay. You can just click next. So you can just ignore it. And the next step will be here, the second page here. It will be a kind of notification for us to enter our email address. Well, think about it. At the very beginning, I've actually mentioned that if we forget our password, we could just click that forget password to recover our password, right? Well, so how can we recover our password? Definitely we will need the email address for us to recover the password. So here we go. This would be the email address that we bound with the PBX. If we forget our password, we could just, reset our password or recover our password. And currently, I'm going to take this email address as an example. Okay, here we go. Now let's keep going. So third page here, it will be another part of settings. As you can see here, it's actually a page, a notification asking us to retype our email address. Well, for this part, it will be a little bit different. With the previous one. So here, think about it. When we try to send email, when we try to send messages to our mailbox, to our extensions, sometimes if we receive a voicemail or we receive some kind of notification from the system, we will definitely send those information to the specific contacts. Well, so we definitely need a method to send those messages. So here we go. This page would be the page for us to bound with our email, to bound with our mailbox. All right. And I'm going to take the Gmail as an example here. Okay, so here we go. So this would be the Gmail, and after that you will see the system will automatically generate the outgoing mail server and incoming mail server. It's actually very easy. If your Mailbox supported, so you will actually get those information, those parameters automatically. Well, if you don't support it, if your mail doesn't support it, it's okay. You can get those information from your mailbox. It's very easy actually. And don't forget to enter your password. That's very important. Just to make sure that your mailbox could be working well with your PBX. So you just confirm that this kind of combine will be working fine. And after that, you can definitely click on this test to just have a try, just to make sure that this mailbox could work. All right, and we click finish, so we have it. Well, here we got something more than important. Is about this orange button. As you can see here, this orange button is very important because if you never click on this apply, this orange button, no matter what kind of modification you've done for the system, it's never gonna take effect for the system. So that's very important. Just make sure, don't forget this apply. All right. Well, now we just finished the very beginning part of the basic. Actually this is the accessing work. So when we're accessing the system, that will be the basic step one. All right, the fundamental part. And now we're gonna start our job today, which will be the basic configuration. So the basic configuration would be started from the very beginning step, which will be network setting. I mean, think about it. This is the VoIP PBX, and we're gonna take this VoIP PBX for the controlling part of our telephone system. So in other words, we definitely need to put it to our local network. So that's the reason why we need to set our network. All right, go for the settings and access this network setting right over here. You will see the page here. And we will just need to access the first option, the first part of it, which will be the basic settings right over here. And here you can see this would be the host name. Basically, I don't suggest you to change that name. You could just drop it there. It will be fine. And right, the next line here, we got a mode here. Have a check here. 3 different modes here. We totally support it because you can check on your box, check on your PBX box. There you will find we actually got 2 interface ports for our network cables. So you can simply choose single, which means your system is going to automatically activate the LAN port. Well, the WAN port is totally not available anymore. All right, that would be the default setting for single mode. All right, so if we choose single mode, and let's have a check. What can we do for the LAN port? Right over here, we can choose DHCP, we can choose static IP address, and of course, triple PoE. So if we take DHCP mode, that means we will never ever have a fixed IP address. We will just have a dynamic IP address, all right? And if we take static IP address, that's what I did for this PBX before. As you can see here, I've actually just changed the PBX IP address. The default IP address is 192.168.5.150. Well, here I just changed another IP address. And basically, we do suggest you to choose static IP address because you will always need to access your system for maintenance, for modification, whatever you want. So you will need a fixed IP address. So just set the IP address, the subnet mask, and of course the gateway, the DNS server. That's very important. Well, you can also choose triple PoE, but if you choose triple PoE, that means you will never have an IP address. So you don't even have an IP address, you could choose triple PoE. All right. Well, just like I've said, people usually they choose static IP address. All right, so that would be the single mode. Let's check about dual mode. So if I take dual mode, which means we just activate LAN port and WAN port both, well, the rest of the work will actually be very similar with previously what we did. You can just go for your WAN port and choose DHCP, static IP address, or triple PoE, whatever you want. So basically, if we choose dual mode, there should be kind of a circumstance, one real case scenario in our daily life if we take this dual mode. Well, think about it. In some areas, some kind of, some service provider, they actually just provide our clients SIP service and network service separately, which means they will offer clients two different network cables, and one for the network service and the other one specifically for the SIP service. So to make sure that your PBX can work with your network and also your SIP, you will definitely need to make sure you have two interface ports for the different network cables plug-in. So that's the reason why we need to set dual mode. All right. And the last one will be bridge mode. So that's actually the most popular mode in our daily life. If you take bridge mode, basically you will be kind of like you just build a bridge between your LAN port and WAN port. So the LAN port and WAN port is actually connected. And after that, you can just put your PBX in your local network. You can connect it with your network router, and on the other side you can connect with your device, with your switch, whatever you want, kind of like make a joint there. All right, well, the next part will be the cellular network, so let's have a check here. So what is cellular network? Cellular network means sometimes if you're trying to use your cellular network, so you definitely need to make part of settings here. Well, cellular, since we were talking about cellular network, so basically cellular network is totally concerned about our SIM card. All right, so we will definitely need to do one thing here is fix one mobile module into our PBX. That will be step one. And step two, plug in your SIM card. All right. And they actually have a requirement on this part of installation, especially for the module. It's kind of, not like the other mobile module. You just plug in and you can start phone calls. This is actually talking about the data service from the SIM card. So you must make sure that your 4G LTE module has been installed on the first slot of the first expansion card. Right, there has a specific position for that installation. Remember, very important. And after that, plug in your SIM card, and you could here just select what kind of, how would you like to make use of your cellular network. You can never, which means you just disable it, or you can choose failover or always. So for example, if we take failover, that means maybe sometimes we get our physical landline network cable, the physical damage. That will be some kind of issue, something happened there. So that will be kind of like the failover. When we lose the connection through our landline network cable, well, facing that kind of situation, the cellular network will actually automatically activate it. And as for the cellular network setting, you will need to go for the cellular network right over here and plug in your SIM card. You can start this part of setting. For example, like dial-up settings, like data control, all of those settings is completely finished by here. All right. And after that, don't forget to click on save. Make sure that will be saved in the system. Okay. So that will be the first step for this basic configuration at the very beginning part, and we're gonna step two. Step two would be change your date and time. That's very important and very basic. So have a check here. I'm actually changed the date and time. As you can see, the time zone would be the Beijing. It's actually in China, and I'm actually using China time, Beijing time. And the daylight saving time, I just disable it because, in China, we never use daylight saving time. So that's the reason why I choose disabled. Well, it's totally fine if you want to activate your daylight saving time. You can just choose automatic. Okay, well, I'm actually trying to tell you here is about date and time setting here. We actually have two methods. The first one, which I've mentioned before, will actually be the automatically setting. So which means you will need to activate synchronize with NTP server. So in other words, your date and time will automatically sync with your NTP server. All right. All you have to do just choose your time zone and choose whether you're going to use daylight saving time. And after that, here we've already offered you one NTP server. Well, if you don't want to use this NTP server, you want to use your own NTP server, of course, you can just enter your NTP server. And another method here could be set up manually. So you can just click here and you can choose your date, you can choose your time. And basically, this part of setting, you will get your date and time from your computer, because basically we're gonna connect with our computer. We're gonna connect our computer with the PBX. So we will start this part of setting directly. So your PBX will actually get date and time from your computer, from your laptop, from your PC, whatever you are using now. Okay, so remember, date and time is very important, because if your date and time is not set correctly, well, perhaps when your clients call to your office, they may have a trouble. They may never reach the exact extension. That would be a problem, right? Because people are not going to work for 24/7. They definitely, people have weekends, have holidays. So make sure your date and time are setting fine, are set well. All right. Click on save. So here you will see the system will ask you to reboot everything. Well, you can just click on yes, and it will take around 1 minute. So the system will finish this automatically rebooting. Okay. All right, that will be step 2. And we got step 3 for the basic configuration at the very beginning, which will be the prompt. Go for the voice prompts right over here. Think about it. When our employees in the office, they're trying to use the telephone system, they definitely need to receive some kind of messages, some information, some notification from the system. Well, that's the system prompt, right? And we know that, especially for some company, they have numerous employees from all over the world. So in other words, some of those employees, they don't even speak English. They don't speak Chinese, they don't speak English, perhaps they speak their language, they speak mother tongue. Well, we definitely need to set the system prompt for those specific agent. So here we go. Let's go for the system prompt right over here. And you can see we have two ways for us to set the system prompt. One is upload system prompts by yourself. Another one, it will be downloaded from online. Okay, let's check here. Let's check online first. You click it first and you will see here is the list for the system prompts. As you can see here, we do support numerous language packages. For example, we support like Turkish, like Swedish, like Portuguese. So numerous languages are totally supported here. And all you have to do is just click download if you need the specific language packages. For example, if we need Finnish, so just click here, download it. You will need to wait for a few seconds, and the system will actually just download that package for you. Okay, here we go. Let's check out here. So we've actually downloaded the Finnish before, so you will see here is the Finnish. It's already existed here. Well, as you can see, I've actually downloaded numerous language packages. Well, if you don't need those language packages, you could just delete them. For example, I would delete Chinese here. I can delete Hebrew here. So for example, if you don't need it, you can just delete it. All right. And another method here would be upload system prompt by yourself from your computer, which will be sometimes, your PBX is not connected with internet, with the public internet. So you can't just get those language packages from a website, from online. It's not possible from the cloud. So how can we do for that? We can just download those language packages from our computer. We can just make sure the connection is working well with our computer, so we can download it on our computer, and we will just need to browse, search that language package in our local storage until we find it, then we can click upload. That will be very easy for us. All right, so click on save. That will be step 3. Now we've just finished the very beginning step of our basic configuration. All right. And now I would like to ask you guys to think about one question here. When we take the asterisk PBX and we just put everything down, we put everything totally set, everything is ready for the system, for the telephone system, what are we going to do for the next? Definitely we will need to make use of this telephone system, this PBX, to help us start phone calls, all right? So the next step will be very basic, very practical, very important, which will be extension settings. Let's go for the settings page here. Click on extensions. Because currently we just have the server for the telephone system, but we don't have terminals for telephone system. And go for the extension setting page here. Let's click on add, have a check here one by one. You will see this would be the basic setting page here, and have a check here. The first line would be the type of the extension. So which means we can select what type of extension we want now. We can choose SIP, which will be IP phone. Or we can take IAX. That will be the old model. Is actually not so popular now based on the asterisk. And we can choose FXS, which will be our analog phone. And things here, if we take analog, if we take FXS, we will need to activate the port, the specific port. We need to assign the port to that analog phone. That's very important. So just make a selection here. All right. And the next part would be the extension number. So this would be the extension number. It will actually generate it by the system. If you want to change it, of course, it's totally fine. But you will need to make sure one thing, which will be go for the general. All right. And let's scrolling down a little bit. Right over here would be the user extensions. So here will actually be the definition for us to define about our extension range. All right. So in other words, no matter what kind of number, what number you want to set for your extension number, it's okay, it's fine, but just make sure that number you are going to set is completely under this range. All right. And this range can be changed, of course, and the range could be changed from 2 digits to 7 digits, maximum 7 digits. Okay, so for example, if I take 8, that's not available. All right, now let's get back to extensions. Okay, and this will be the extension number, and right over here, this will be the caller ID. So think about it, when we make phone call to other person, to other extension, we will need to show our number, our identity, right? So this will be the caller ID. Basically, keep it as same as our extension number. And here will be the registration name and registration password. Well, if we take SIP, if we take IP phones, of course, we will need registration name and registration password because we need register our IP phone on the asterisk PBX. That's very important information here. Well, but if we take FXS, which means analog phones, have a check here. It won't be necessary anymore. You just plug in, you just assign the port for that analog phone, then you just plug in. You can start to use it. All right. So let's take an example back on the SIP, back on the IP phone. And the next one here will be the concurrent registration. So what is concurrent registration? Which means here, it actually means you can see we got one extension number, right? And here concurrent registration will be 1. So which means we can only use one single extension number with one single terminal. That's what we can do for now, right? But this number could be changed. Maximum it will be 5. In other words, which means I can use one single extension number plus 5 different terminals. So that will be very convenient for our clients. If they got a business trip, if they're not available in the office, if they're in the branch office, or if they're in the house. So no matter where they are, they can use multiple terminals, but with one single extension number. And you can also plus one IAX and one FXS, so which means maximum you will have 7 different terminals with one same extension number. All right. Okay. Now, user information. So what is user information? Here you got a username, you got a password. So think about it. When I try to access the GUI system, I do use the username and password of the administrator, which will be admin and password, right? So this part of user information is specifically belong to our extension. Well, when those employees think about it, when they need to try to access the system to check their voicemail, to set their extension settings, something like that, that's totally personal settings, right? It's totally private. So they will need to access the system, of course, but they will not gonna use the administrator's password and username access the system. They will use their own, so this will be the information for their own. Okay, and we can bound with our email and our mobile. Okay, let's have a check about email and mobile later. All right, let's continue here. So this will be the next one will be the prompt language. You guys do remember at the very beginning I've actually mentioned about system prompt that, you know, people from different place, different country, they speak different languages. So perhaps they don't speak English, so they will need their specific mother tongue or something like that. So we can make a selection here for the prompt language. So for example, if we got an agent, we got an employee from maybe from France, so perhaps he speaks French, so we can just choose French here. Or maybe we can select Italian, Russian, whatever we want. So just for that specific agent here. All right, now let's get to the features. Right over here would be the voicemail. Have a check. We will definitely need to enable voicemail first. All right. And we can also set voicemail to email. So here gets a problem here. We don't have an email address, right? Get back to your basic page here, bound with your email address. So let's I would like to just take an example. So this will be just an example, all right? So for example, we drop an email address here and get back to the features here. So now I activate send voicemail to email so that I can receive that voicemail by, I can check that voicemail by using this mailbox. Okay. And of course, if I want to check my voicemail through my terminals, so I will definitely need a password. You know, voicemail is totally about the privacy, so we will definitely need to set a password here. And next part will be call forwarding. Have a check here. You can choose always, all right, but that sounds like a little bit stupid. And you can choose no answer when busy, and you will set the specific destination for that phone calls. For example, if you got a no answer, currently you're not available in the office, so your phone is actually nobody gonna answer it. You can just transfer your phone calls. If someone calls you, you can transfer that phone call to your voicemail, to another extension, or to your mobile number. So right over here, you click on set mobile, you will get back here. You would just need to set your mobile number right over here. So next time, if someone calls you, you got no answer, it will transfer to this mobile. And when busy, you can also set a custom number, which means you can set a specific number. That will be fine. And here we got a prefix. So what is a prefix? Think about it. This will be kind of like, you know, this number, the mobile number in this when busy, you set this custom number is actually not the internal number in the telephone system. This will be outside number. So there will be another number, your third-party number, for example, like your cell phone, like that, you know, somewhere else. So definitely that will be kind of like secondary dialing. So you will definitely need to set a prefix to fit with your outbound call route. That's very important. And we're going to talk about outbound call route in the next episode. Okay. And here we got a mobility extension. So what is mobility extension? So sometimes you're not available in the office, but you always carry with your cell phone. That's very important. So you can make your cell phone become your mobility extension, but you will need to enable your mobility extension and set your number here. And of course, you can choose ring simultaneously, which means next time if someone calls you, you will receive that phone call and you will get a simultaneously ring on your IP phone and on your mobility extension. Okay. Next part will be the monitor settings. So here on my left hand here, we can allow being monitored, which means if you activate it, you just make your terminals, you just make your extension being monitored by other people. And on my right hand here, the monitor mode, which means you can definitely set your extension to monitor others. You can disable it and you can activate it. When you activate it, you will have three different modes for you to monitor other persons. For example, if you take listen, so listen mode, which means you can only listen other person's conversation, but you are muted. No one can hear your voice. And if you take this whisper, so if you take whisper, you can speak to the person, you can speak to the target whom you actually start monitoring, right? And the other side, the third party, he can actually not hearing anything from your side. And if you take barge in, you can actually just join in the conversation, make it become like a three parties conversations. All right. And the other settings here, we get a ring timeout. That will be very easy to understand. You can set the timeout here, or you can set the timeout by yourself. And we get a maximum call durations. That will actually be kind of like the limitation for the telephone system, specifically for those extensions who are trying to make phone calls to the outside world. That will be the limitation for outgoing calls. You can set the time duration here. All right, and of course, you can activate your DND. Do not disturb. All right, click on save. Now we just create this specific extension, which will be 1000, and applied it. Well, here, perhaps you guys want to know that if there are any easier way for us to set the extensions, because, for example, we have over 100 extensions, or we have over 50 extensions here. So if you set those extensions one by one, that's really terrible. All right, spend a really long time. So is there any way for us to cut the corner? Yeah, of course. We can choose bulk add, so we can set those extensions bulkily. As you can see here, all the basic settings will be completely same, and the difference here will be if you choose bulkily add, it only supports SIP and IAX. Well, for FXS, we don't need it, right? We just need to assign ports and plug in, so we don't need it, of course. And here, you can choose your create number. So how many extensions are you going to create currently? And you will need to choose the start extension. And get to the features, it will be completely same. Because the system will actually just follow this rule and help you to set all of those extensions automatically. All right, so that will be a very easy way for us. And except for the bulkily add, we could also support import a template. So you will need to export it, which means you will need to download that template first. And get to your computer storage and open it. You will see that the template is actually the CSV file. It will actually mention everything in detail here. So the rest of the work for you would be filling the blanks. You would just need to follow those items information. And for example, we got a type, we got a username. You just follow those details information and fill in the blanks. And after that, click on save and get back to your PBX. Just click on import. So you just find that CSV file and import it so you can have it automatically. All right, guys, so that would be all the settings for our very basic thing. It's actually about extension settings. Okay, but it seems that we're not finished yet, right? Because you guys must know that, you guys must aware that we're only actually just create a few extensions in the telephone system. You know, kind of like we just activate a few accounts for PBX, but we still don't have the actual terminals. So how can we start phone calls, right? Don't worry about it. So the next step for us would be the registration. We just need to register our IP phones on the PBX, or we just plug in our FXS. We just plug in our, analog phones. We're talking about the IP phones, the registration work. If we got only like 5 or 6 IP phones, yeah, we can do the registration work one by one through the web GUI of our IP phones. That will be fine. But if we have over 50, we have over 100 IP phones, that would be really terrible. Spend a really long time, kind of like wasting time if we do that kind of work one by one. So don't worry about it. Go for the general menu here, we will have the auto-provisioning. That's a very specific and very unique feature on the S-Series PBX, and click on it. Let's go for the auto-provisioning. So currently I have those extensions, and I would like to show you guys here. So I'm gonna delete all of those devices first. And let's see how can we make that auto-provisioning happen. Let's just make it clear. Let's just clear the list, and I will show you from the very beginning, step by step, how to make this auto-provisioning. Okay, so when we activate the auto-provisioning, basically, the first step we're going to do is to connect our IP phones in the local network. That's very important. Make sure that the physical connection is working fine. And you click on scan. Just wait for a few seconds. Your PBX will actually start the automatically scanning in your local network, and until it finds all those devices. And you will see all those devices are here. So the next work we're going to do is to make a selection. This is auto-provisioning. Everything is due to the same template. So the important thing here will be make sure your selection will be completely the same model, the same manufacturer. That's very important. Well, if you can't find your device in this automatically scanning, don't worry about it. You can also add device by yourself manually. So here you will just need to select the manufacturer. As you can see here, we do have a very extraordinary compatibility. So we support numerous IP phones. No matter what kind of IP phone you're using now, it's totally supported. And you can choose the model of that IP phone. That's very important. And of course, you can just enter your MAC address of that IP phone. And here you can select the template and click on save, so you will have it. All right, so once we finish that part of work, we're gonna start the configuration. So choose the same model in the PBX, those IP phones, and click edit. So right over here, you will just need to make a selection one by one. Select one IP phone, match with one extension number, and click on add. And select the next one. You band with another the extension number. Well, the third one with the third extension number. So we will have it. Click on save, and the system will just ask us to reboot the IP phone right now. So you click on yes, and your phone will actually start rebooting automatically. And after that automatically rebooting, congratulations, you can start your internal phone calls right now. Okay, guys, so that was all for today's episode. That's actually a very basic configuration for the first step when we try to build our telephone system, and we create an environment. We build that environment for our internal telephone system. That's very important. So after all of those things, what we've done before, we can actually just start internal calls now. And in the next episode, we're going to talk about how to start phone calls for outgoing or incoming calls. That will be another issue we're going to talk about in the next episode. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode.